Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome to 2020. We are at the start of a new decade, and a lot of good energy is in the air. This is Citrine, and this is your weekly Zodiac Messages and astrology report. And this is going to cover the week of January 5th through the 11th. So, as usual, I do start off with the astrology report. And while I am going over the astrology for the week, I'll just be showing you which cards came out for each sign. Okay, so now let's just talk about what's going on in January, basically. So in January, the full moon is going to be in Cancer, and it is going to be a lunar eclipse. Okay, so it's going to be major. Remember, lunar eclipses a lot of times will eclipse something out of your life. Okay, so just prepare yourself for some changes. Now, the sun moves into Aquarius on the 20th. So as of the 20th, we can start telling all of our Aquarius friends happy birthday. And then we have the new moon on the 24th, and the new moon will be in Aquarius as well. Okay, now let's look at this week. This week, we have the sun in a sextile to Neptune. Okay, and at this point in the week, on the 7th, the sun is in Capricorn, and Neptune, of course, is still in Pisces. So this is an energy where a lot of people will be tapping into the feelings and the needs of others. So it is a highly sensitive, intuitive time for a lot of people around the 7th. Okay, now on the 8th, we have another sextile. Now, let's just talk about sextiles for a minute, because I know a lot of people hear the terms, but they don't really understand it. So a sextile is when the planets are about 60 degrees from one another. Okay, and now when you have a sextile, you either have a fire air sign. You either have the planets in a fire and an air sign, or the planets are in earth and water sign. You will not see an air sign in a sextile to an earth sign. So you won't have a planet that's in an air sign that will be in a sextile to an earth sign. And you won't have any planet in a fire sign that is in a sextile to a water sign. Okay, so when you hear sextile, just know that it's either fire, air involved, or it is earth and water involved. Okay, so on the 8th, we have Mercury in a sextile to Neptune. Okay, this is an energy that stimulates your imagination. Okay, also, it is a very highly telepathic time as well. A lot of times when Neptune is involved, you will find yourself feeling more telepathic, more intuitive, just more in touch with others' feelings. So it is a very highly telepathic time. Now, it is not a good day for details. A lot of times when you deal with a lot of psychics or intuitive people, sometimes you will find that they don't like paying attention to too many details, because their consciousness is so elevated. For them to pay attention to some of the details involved, they truly would have to ground themselves. So when Mercury is in a sextile to Neptune, it is a highly telepathic time for a lot of people. Now on the 10th, we have the sun in a conjunction to Mercury. And a conjunction is when the planets are the closest to one another. Okay, so when the sun is in a conjunction to Capricorn, this is an energy where you might find yourself having more conversations, and you might be interested in different types of communication, such as letters, emails, verbally talking with someone. And it is a great time to start a new business as well. Okay, so it's going to be a great week. It's going to be filled with intuition. It's going to be filled with communication. And then on the 10th also, we have Uranus going direct. In case you forgot, Uranus has been retrograde. Okay, so this is a major happening. Uranus is going direct. Okay, so that's on the 10th as well. All right, let's get into the Zodiac messages for the week. And as always, we start off with Aries. Okay, Aries, so this week, in the deck that I'm using this week, one of my favorite decks, and then, you know, of course, every reader will tell you all of their decks are their favorite decks. I just have a few of my decks out. So I'm using the Angels and Ancestors deck this week. This is the deck. This deck is by Kyle Gray. Really nice deck. Okay, so let's start off with Aries. Aries, this week you have the Traveler card. And for a lot of Aries people will be moving in a new direction this week. Okay, remember, this is a general reading for all signs. So this might resonate with you. It might not resonate with you. If it does not resonate, don't think about it too much. You can always book a private reading with me. Now, moving on to Taurus. Taurus, you have the Spring card. So for a lot of Taurus people, you will start finding around this time that a lot of your ideas that you have been jotting down, a lot of your ideas you've been playing around with, a lot of them might start coming into fruition. Okay, so you might very well start seeing some of your seeds growing. And when I say seeds, I'm talking about your the plans you have been playing around with, and, you know, things like that. Now, moving on to Gemini. Gemini, this week you have the Elder card. And this card talks about moving beyond ancestral patterns. Okay, so this could be, for a lot of Geminis, it could mean something along the lines of expanding on family traditions or changing family traditions. So that is for Gemini. Now, moving on to Cancer. Cancer, you have the Great Teacher card. And this card talks about learning from spiritual experiences. So some Cancers will have some type of deep spiritual experience this week. So that's something to look forward to, Cancer. Okay, moving on to Leo. Leo, this week you have the Heart Guardian card. Okay, so this week a lot of Leos will have to be receptive to love. Okay, you will have to open up your heart, love others, let others love you. Don't put up a shield around your heart this week, Leo. Okay, love and let yourself be loved this week, Leo. Now, moving on to Virgo. Virgo, you have the Peacekeeper card. So for a lot of Virgos, you know, a lot of Virgos are very analytical, very specific. Some Virgos, you know, they have the need to be right. So for a lot of Virgos this week, this is your message. Let go of the need to be right this week. Okay? Like I said, I've said this before. If somebody comes to you and tells you 1 + 1 is 3, this week, just let go of the need to be right. If they tell you 1 + 1 is 3, you just say, okay, must be some type of, you know, new math, and just let it go, because you know 1 + 1 is 2. So let go of the need to be right this week, Virgo. Now, moving on to Libra. Oh, this is one of my favorite cards. I just love the aesthetics of the card and all of the colors. All of the covers are just, I mean, all of the colors are just so vivid in this deck, in this card. So anyway, Libra, you have the Seer card. Okay, so this is going to require you to see beyond the current situation this week, Libra. You have the seer card. Okay, so if someone comes to you and they might be telling you something that happened with person A, but you know that person B is the culprit. Like, you just have to see beyond what somebody is putting in front of you this week, Libra. Don't believe the first thing you hear this week. Moving on to Scorpio. Scorpio, this week you have the Trader card. So for you, you need an exchange of energy this week. Remember, exchange of energy creates abundance. Okay? Don't give too much of your energy out this week and you don't receive it back. Okay? And don't expect for someone to, give so much to you and you don't give it back, and vice versa. There has to be an exchange of energy this week, Scorpio. Okay? You have the Trader card. Trade energies. Don't do too much and not receive, and don't receive too much and not give. That's for Scorpio. Okay, moving on to Sagittarius. Sagittarius, you have the Guardian Angel card. This is just a reminder for you this week that you are not alone. Okay, something might happen this week and you might feel like, I don't have anybody, nobody is for me, this and that. Just remember that you are not alone. Moving on to Capricorn. Capricorn, you have the Star Ancestor card. And the message is to follow the voice of your soul. Okay? So this week, a lot of Capricorns will be receiving downloads from your ancestors. So be aware if you do any ancestor, if you have an ancestor altar, make sure to tend to your altar this week, Capricorn. If you're not into altars, if you just receive downloads, make sure you're paying attention to what your ancestors are trying to communicate to you this week, Capricorn. Moving on to Aquarius. Aquarius, you have the Drum card, Dream and Journey. So pull out your pen and paper this week, Aquarius, because you need to write down your dreams. Okay? Write down your dreams. Write down your visions. You need to dream and journey this week, Aquarius. Moving on to Pisces. Pisces, you have the Animal Guardian card, and it just talks about trusting your instincts this week. Something might happen and you will just have a nudge within your being, and you need to follow that. So that has been the weekly Zodiac Messages and Astrology Report. Again, this is Citrine Chaka. If you would like to book a reading with me, you can just visit my website, metaphysicalmoonlighters.com, and you can book a personal reading. So I hope everyone has a good week. Happy New Year, and I will see you next week.